Ask Professor Dave.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Ask Professor Dave. Today I want to answer a question I've been getting a lot lately. Some of you have been noticing some of the things I've been posting in my community tab. Others have noticed what's going on over here in some of my videos, this whole business. And you want to know whether I'm a musician, and if so, what kind of music I make. Well, indeed, I have been a musician my entire life, so I thought it might be fun to go over a brief history of that aspect of myself for whomever might be curious. So here we go. Music began for me when I started playing the piano at age 8. By around 10 or 11, I started entering competitions, so things got very serious, and I was practicing a lot, about an hour a day, all the way through high school. So after 10 years of this, I got quite good from a technical standpoint. I've actually posted all these childhood videos on a separate channel if you're interested. It's just my name, Dave Farina, and it's in the featured channels list on my homepage. So that's what I was doing all the way until I graduated high school in 2001. Then in the summer between high school and college, I actually started messing around on the drums. Right when I got to college, I found some people to start a band with, and I was immediately hooked. All through college, all I wanted to do was play drums in bands. I was in jam bands, funk bands, prog bands, rock and roll bands. Anyone on campus who needed a drummer, I was their guy. I also played in some ethnic percussion ensembles, learned a bunch of other weird instruments, and just really grew immensely in terms of my musicality and creativity, so it was a great 4 years for me artistically. Now, as you know, I somehow also managed to get a chemistry degree during that time, but nevertheless, right from freshman year, I knew that what I really wanted to do was make music for a living. Right after college in 2005, I moved to Santa Cruz, California, and I found a band to play with right away. I sort of stumbled through 2 semesters of grad school before the band said they wanted to move up to San Francisco, so I immediately quit school and moved up with them, since that was my priority at the time. That band fell apart almost immediately, but in the city I had no trouble finding other people to play with. I started a band called Magnus Hitch with a guitarist that I met, and we just played all the time, writing music every day and gigging every weekend. I would tutor and substitute teach a little bit just to make enough money to rent a really cheap, gross apartment, and that was just fine for me. I only cared about music. After a couple years in 2008, that band decided to move down to Los Angeles. So we continued playing down here. We went from prog rock to synth pop. We changed our name to Plus. We added a member and just kept plugging away. We eventually lost steam though. One member had an acting career that was taking off, and I had actually also joined another band called The Lonely Wild in 2012. And that was the band that looked like it was gonna go all the way. Right when I joined, we did a month-long residency at a club here in LA, and we got a nice little buzz from that, which led to management, a booking agent, we got signed to a label, the whole shebang. We released a record called The Sun As It Comes, and that did pretty well. So from 2012 to 2015, we were on the road all the time, coast to coast, almost every state. We did at least 8 or so national tours during that time. So that's actually one of the reasons I lost my organic chemistry teaching job. I kept skipping out on responsibilities like faculty meetings to make it out in time for tour dates, and they got kind of sick of it. But I didn't really care. I thought that the band was really going places, so that was my priority, and I guess in a certain sense I kind of let that job slip away. The tours got better and better, bigger and bigger shows, everything looked like it was going to work out, and then one day it just all fell apart. We put our 3rd record out called Chasing White Light, and the tour we did to support it was terrible. People just stopped coming to shows, we stopped getting radio support, nobody really knew what was going on, and pretty much just like that, the whole thing fizzled out. So 2016 was a little bit of a depressing year for me because I was coming to terms with the fact that this band just wasn't going to happen. Fortunately, by that time, I was 1 year into this channel, and that was picking up steam. So in my frustration, I turned all of my attention to science communication. I started working relentlessly, making as much content as possible, as quickly as possible, which most of you are quite familiar with. I just needed something to work in my life for once. I was already in my early 30s with nothing to show for myself whatsoever, and this seemed to be working, so I really went for it full force, as you can tell, given the current state of the channel. Then about a year and a half later, I got the itch for music again, and I started to think about what I wanted to do, given all the failed bands and all the effort spent, and I decided that I really wanted to start my own project. I'd never done that before. I'd always just been the drummer. So I wondered what it would be like to have something that's just really my own. I wanted to write everything myself, hire players, and tell them what to play. And instead of being behind the drums, I wanted to be the front man. So I decided to play synthesizers and sing lead vocal. So I wrote a few songs, I hired some young USC music school grads, and started molding the live sound. I decided to call the project Simulated Sun because I knew I wanted to incorporate a lot of themes associated with science, technology, futurism. That's just kind of who I am, and that's what I want to write about. And simulated sun is a term that could refer to either a fusion reactor, since those simulate the processes that power any star, or it could be thought of as a true simulation, like in a futuristic computer. So the potential for all kinds of different space and technology-related imagery is really clear. So that's why I chose that name. I recorded a few songs, and I actually just released my first EP last month called Ignition, which signifies the birth of a star. I wrote everything, I tracked almost everything myself. I don't know how to play guitar, but I did all the drums and percussion, all the synth, and all the vocals. And I'm pretty proud of how it turned out, as well as the music videos that I've been making for these songs, 2 of which are out so far, and 2 more are in the works. So I'm still working relentlessly on this channel. Don't worry, I'm never going to stop making content for the channel. But I do try to find pockets of time here and there to write songs, rehearse, gig out a little bit. So if you're in the Los Angeles area, look out for that. For everyone else, if you've ever wanted to support this channel but you can't afford to give money on Patreon, something else that costs nothing and absolutely would mean the world to me would be if you would just subscribe to the Simulated Sun YouTube channel, which is also in my featured channels list, and follow the band on Facebook and on Instagram, which is @SimulatedSun. It's really important for me to get those numbers up right now, so if you're willing to just click a few buttons for me to subscribe and follow on my socials, I would be sincerely grateful, as it's really tough to get a band up and running, especially in Los Angeles. So now you know what I do with all of these gizmos back here. I'll put some links in the description below in case you want to listen to my music on Spotify or even download a few tracks. And for those of you who are not so interested, don't worry, I'm going to get right back to work on the science stuff right now. So I'll see you over there.